We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition here of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box. Sunday, we got a lot to get into. NFL opening weekend of the baseball MLB season, along with the NCAA men's basketball championship tonight, Baylor and Gonzaga, and we'll touch a little Masters week ahead here in the world of major golf. I am Paul Macrie alongside Big V, Mike Velardi. We're back in action here. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? Let's touch on our sponsor, Showcase Sports. As you heard in the promo there, Showcase Sports is our new sponsor. You can check them out. They're actually, I think it's known now, they're actually moving near the Dunkin' Donuts on the Whitehorse Pike. They will be in there. I talked to Ronnie probably the end of May or mid-May, sometime around that time. So about another month. Go over there, check them out. They're going to have a batting cage in there, all kinds of stuff. We're hoping to do a live show from there as well. Showcase Sports in Hamilton.
Yeah, very exciting to see them, move here in, as you said, in the next 6 weeks or 2 months or so, and good opportunity for them. And thanks for having them now on board as one of our sponsors. So we're going to start off with the news that broke about around the 4 o'clock hour, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hour. And not as surprised as is happening, but I guess maybe the location of where he is heading. Sam Darnold, the 2018 first-round pick of the New York Jets, was deemed to be their next franchise quarterback, and that was not to be. He is done in New York after 3 seasons, and he is going to the Carolina Panthers for 3 draft picks, a 2021 6th-round pick, and then 2 picks in 2022, a 2nd round, and a 4th round. Really, I mean, at this point, they probably got the most they could get out of this particular market, considering Sam Darnold is coming off, obviously, some down seasons. And, some of it could be blamed on him for sure. Some of it could be the talent around him. Some of it can definitely, or maybe a good portion of it could be put on the former head coach of that team, Adam Gase. And there's a reason why he's not a head coach now, is his failure to groom that particular quarterback, and he was supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. Right. And Sam Darnold did not pan out in New York, but he gets a fresh start now in Carolina. You have to think he's going to have the inside position to get the starting job starting the 2021 season, and I think they're already pretty much hinting that Teddy Bridgewater will be on his way out as well.
So what do? They eat that, what is it, 2 more years, $40 million left? It was 3 years, $60 million, right?
3 years, 63. So you got 2 years left at about, as you're right, probably around like 40 or so left. He's getting paid a little more than what a normal, he's getting paid definitely more than a backup gets paid.
Right, obviously.
But he's getting maybe a little bit less than, he's getting like your middle tier NFL starting quarterback money, which I guess that's basically what he is. He's obviously was a very good backup in New Orleans under Drew Brees for that several years, but he can't stay healthy. And he was hurt. He got hurt last year again. I think he works well in that spot start scenario, but I think unfortunately for him, it's just about, not staying upright and just not being healthy. I know what are you going to do? You have the major knee injury you had in Minnesota. I mean, that's unfortunate, but he did bounce back and ends up, obviously he'll still end up having a decent NFL career here. But obviously Carolina is moving on. They figure, they're not quite in a position as far as their draft slot to get one of these top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So they deemed Sam Darnold is better than that, whoever would be that 5th best quarterback in this draft. So, and as Chris Tenta points out here, Darnold only 23, great deal for Carolina. I think it's great. I think it's a fair deal for both sides, to be honest with you. I don't think one team really, obviously Carolina needed, a young quarterback that they feel like they groomed. He connects now with Joe Brady, and many people think is an up-and-coming offensive mind in the NFL after his great year as the offensive coordinator in LSU, and they won the national championship, and Joe Burrow had that tremendous season. Then he comes to the NFL last year. They do some good things in Carolina year one, but he didn't have Christian McCaffrey for most of the year, so you kind of, I guess, let that go. So now, he brings in a young quarterback that he can groom, and we'll see what happens. So,
yeah, I mean, as like I said, Chris Tenta pointed out, he's only 23 years old, but was he a product of a bad team in New York? You know what I mean? Is he a next level starter? Can he bring Carolina? Not that I see Carolina like the Jets, but Carolina's in the bottom half, you would say, of the NFL.
What would they finish this past year? Were they were like
five or 6 wins? Year, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were a 500. Maybe they win a game or two more with him in there for most of the season. But obviously, he got hurt early, came back, I think, for one game, and then missed the rest of the season after that. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're talent-wise, they're a 500 team right now, but they certainly have an opportunity if Darnold takes the next step and can be what he was drafted to be. And there has been some tape breakdown this offseason that shows he did some good things when he had a little bit of time and had a clean pocket this year, which was not much, very few and far between moments. But he could still make all the throws that some of the top tier quarterbacks can make in this league. And I think it's just now about getting him behind a better offensive line, and obviously Christian McCaffrey helps, and they have a couple of decent receiving options as well. But this is kind of the important step in the Matt Rule era. Getting that guy that he can be that franchise quarterback guy, because head coaches don't last long in this league without a good quarterback. And Matt Rule knows that right away, even though he's got a little bit of leash. He has the big contract, that he signed last year with Carolina, getting hired by them. But I think this is an important step for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I see him as a guy who didn't work out in New York. Adam Gase wasn't a great head coach, but he was somewhat of a decent offensive mind. I know he didn't have the weapons. I know he really didn't have much there in New York. So maybe a change of scenery, maybe a better coach. I don't know about the offensive weapons. I mean, they got a decent core of wide receivers. Obviously, the running back is a star. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I heard this news late while I was on the golf course. So I don't know exactly what happened. What was the actual trade? 2, a second, a fourth, and what else?
Yeah, so it's a 6th-round pick for this year, and then a 2nd-rounder in 2022 and a 4th-rounder in 2022.
So they really didn't give up.
No, from the Carolina perspective, I guess you can make a good case they did well because they didn't give up that 2nd-round pick this year,
or their 1st-round pick for a stud.
But this just goes to show you that the Jets, they waited it out as long as they could, and they weren't going to get, because everybody knows they didn't have this huge, the pool as far as, everybody knew they were going to looking to get rid of Darnold because Zach Wilson's their guy at number 2. It looks like right now. I think it's 95% Zach Wilson will be their pick at number 2, and their quarterback, obviously, they're hoping in the future now. So they waited out as long as they could, and they get the 2nd-round pick next year. But for the Jets, I think it's just about accumulating more picks. I think they got 21 picks over the next 2 drafts here now.
Yeah. Just to go off of Henry's question, do you think the Jets got enough to have a rebuild season, or are they missing something? Like you said, I only think that the reason why the Jets want to do is, like you said, they know they're picking a quarterback at 2. I think they've known they're picking a quarterback at 2. It's not that, let's see what we can get for him. I think it was, who's going to give us the best package? And even though they didn't get a first, which I didn't think they were going to get, they got a decent haul back for a guy who wasn't in their future. So, and did he have a big contract or no?
Darnold was still in the midst. He's still in the midst of his rookie deal, but they picked up his 5th-year option already. So that's, now they give him the leash of you got, this year and next year. So basically he's signed through 2022. If he would have stayed with the Jets, there was no chance that they were going to keep him with that 5th-year option with Zach Wilson waiting the wing. So
one of the hosts of Baseline Jumper, Tony Quigley, this is the only show he'd watch on Monday night. It's a beast. Love that comment right there.
Thanks for the compliment.
Some people don't even watch his show, but I like to comment on it, and other people on the box, they don't really watch his basketball show. But I love Quig. I like what those guys, him and Scoops, have to offer.
Yep, they're on Wednesday nights. So
let's change focus. We talked about the Darnold trade. We think that that'll be good for Carolina. Let's switch our talk here to the MLB season getting underway. The Phillies surprising, I think, a lot of people with 3 very, 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 very good starts from their starting pitching. Starting with Nola, Zach Wheeler, stud effort, and Zach Eflin pitched phenomenal, I thought.
Yeah.
And listen, they might not score 6, 7, 8, 9 runs a game. These are the games they lost last year. 2-1, 4-0.
The close games. Right?
Listen, not getting my hopes up yet, but if they could pitch like this, and Alvarado looks phenomenal out of the pen. Neris got a little bit of trouble yesterday, but got out of it.
Yep.
I'm telling you, with a remade bullpen and actual guys that I didn't know see what Frank said. Yeah, hold on for a second. If they could pitch like this, they've always had the offense to play with teams, but they can never get that big inning from their pitcher. We have to come in and shut a team down. Listen, Matt Moore's pitching tonight, which I don't consider him a stud, obviously, but those 3 starters that they have, and Mitch Williams said it today on the radio, I put them up against anybody in the National League. Yes, you have the Bowers and the Kershaws. Kershaw's fallen off a little bit. Let's see what these guys can do on a full year. Let's see what these guys can do if they're healthy. Zach Wheeler last year with the finger injury, the fingernail. Nola usually dies out towards the end of the year. They looked pretty. And if Zach Eflin can give you 12 to 15 wins this year, they're gonna be tough to beat. They're gonna be real tough to beat.
Yeah, as you said, obviously you want to set that tone, and they did that. Obviously beating the Braves. Sweeping them, and the Braves have won the division 3 years in a row. And the Braves put out obviously 3 excellent starters too. Max Fried and Charlie Morton and Ian Anderson, and they all held their own and pitched well. Just the Phillies just pitched just a little bit better. Nola gave up the 2-run homer, pinch hit home run to Sandoval that knocked him out of the game on opening day on Thursday. But Zach Wheeler was tremendous.
Yep.
Throwing near 100 miles an hour. 10 strikeouts, only gave up 1 hit, and he gets 2 big base hits in the game. That was tremendous for a guy that's a career 150 hitter to do, to help his own cause. And then yesterday, as you said, Zach Eflin, had, his stuff was really moving, and he's throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. So these guys are throwing hard. Nola's not throwing quite as hard, but Nola's got great stuff. We all know that. It's just sometimes executing that one pitch, that big pitch. But I think for Aaron Nola, it just seems like he never gets a prime run support. It's always like the Phillies only put up 3 or 4 runs for him.
Right.
Listen, in September he's come up small at times, so I'm not going to completely back him. But I think right now, if you're saying Aaron Nola, at least at the moment, is looking like, at least in the form he's in right now, their 3rd best starter. That's saying something pretty well. But let's just hope they all, these 3 guys stay healthy throughout the year. This is going to be the ultimate year where these arms are going to be tested, because you're coming off a year of only 60 games and these guys making 11 or 12 starts. And this year they're going to be expected to make 30 plus starts. So that's a big jump from one year to the next. Yeah. So we'll see how that rolls. But Now you got DeGrom tonight after you just saw these three pitchers with the Braves. So they're starting off with four tremendous pitchers. Then thankfully it tails off a little bit with like Marcus Stroman and David Peterson with the other Mets starters in this series coming up.
Remember something, this is their first game tonight, though. So, Philly's got their belts. Maybe the Mets won't hit as well. Maybe we can catch them. Who if they can hit DeGrom a little bit, I don't know, man. That'd be a nice 4 games to start the year against your division.
Yeah, Matt Moore had a 1-2-3 first inning, 2 strikeouts, and they are now in the bottom of the first inning. So we'll see.
Jack Fritz loves Matt Moore.
He had a nice spring. He had a little bit of a rocky last 1 or 2 outings, but before that, he looked pretty good. I mean, listen, I'm fine with him being a number 4, number 5 starter. I think Chase Anderson. I think
hit one on the wall.
Did he? I'm not facing the television, of course.
Jesus Christ! Why would he try to go for a triple? Oh.
You stretch it out.
He didn't get there.
But what was I going to say? Just Chase Anderson, who pitches tomorrow night. I think he's going to be more suited as your long relief guy. I think Spencer Howard, when he's ready to go, when he's deemed healthy enough to pitch, he'll slot in as your other starter, and probably Chase Anderson will be coming out of the bullpen.
I thought the ball got out, but it didn't, obviously.
Yeah, Hoskins is
pulling a twig, perfect. Pulling a truck gun out of third. Oh my God!
He's got the speed of Pat Burrell used to have. It's almost like he was carrying a piano on his back. Yeah,
I don't even know if he's that fast.
He's a little slow.
Todoro could have ran faster than that.
Oh, Todoro is an athlete.
I know.
He's Mr. Isn't he Mr. CYA or whatever, the basketball or whatever, rec league star, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know. I haven't seen his athletic ability yet. He's a pretty good golfer, so I don't know.
He loves Roman Quinn, so ask him about Roman Quinn.
But listen, it comes down to we like I said, Babe Ruth is on deck, and this guy wants to go for 3. That's fantastic. Like I said, we know that the Phillies are going to hit. Obviously, with DeGrom tonight, might be, we'll see what happens. But they are used to losing these close games, even though it's the first 3 games of the year. Trying to get my hopes up a little bit, but it is nice to see them in games. Listen, that last game, was it the second game or the third game when Roman Quinn threw the guy out of home? You had a couple things going on. It was
opening day, yeah. Opening day.
BD makes an unbelievable catch over his shoulder. Those are the things that usually go wrong, and if they all went right for them. Listen, that 3-game set, it might not come down to the end of the year now when you lose 4 in a row to Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? You start out somewhat hot in your division, and it might not make any. It might make all the difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got first 13 games of the year against the Braves and the Mets. So, I mean, obviously this is good way or a good barometer, I guess, to start the season. It's still a long season. It was good to see the bullpen obviously start off strong with the combination of Brogdon, Connor Brogdon, and, you got Archie Bradley, Jose Alvarado, and Hector Neris. Obviously, they're going to eventually have to pitch these other guys. Like, we're going to eventually see Vince Velasquez. Like, we're going to see him at some point. We might see him tonight. I don't know. But
listen, if I understand what Tenth is saying here. I get it. I didn't like him either as the closer, but he has some of the best stuff, and he's experienced in that role. Okay, listen, you got Bradley, you got Alvarado, 7-8 inning,
who can close. They can close as well.
Right, Alvarado's got the filthiest stuff out of all of them. I mean,
but he can be a little wild at times too.
He can be, but he throws hard like a closer. So Neris is more of the splitter pitcher, the junk pitcher. He's not going to overpower you.
Yeah, he throws 94, 95 at times. Yeah.
You might be right. I don't know if he may be the closer all year. He might go through a little bit of a rough stretch, but he really didn't pitch bad last year. Like I said, he would.
And who's this other guy they have that they've got from the Giants? I think Sam Coonrad or something like that. He throws like 100 miles an hour too. But I think his command at times is.
He's Ryan Manson. He looks like Ryan Manson. His body type. Listen,
that's who Jack Fritz compares Brogdon to, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all that.
That's the guy you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the guy you're talking about.
He hasn't pitched yet, but he's in the bullpen as well. And you have to figure JoJo Romero is going to be in a bullpen at some point as their second lefty. I don't know what their exact plan was for not having him in the bullpen to start the year. But, I mean, obviously the first four guys that they're most confident right now look to be at least it was a good start. They got confidence, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's only 3 games out of 162.
Right.
So I think that's obviously something we got to keep in perspective as well. So.
Oh, yeah. I hear you. The rest of the league, pretty much, if you want to just touch on some of the things that we didn't think were going to happen, some of the things we didn't. I think Cleveland got swept, didn't they? Did they win the third game?
I know the Athletics got swept, right, by the Astros.
They were missing Laureano, Sean Murphy. I mentioned a bunch of guys, but
yeah.
I'm going to come down to pitching this year. I mean, honestly, because I don't really know. Kershaw has looked bad. He looked bad in the preseason. He looked bad in the first start against the Rockies.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some scores today. The Royals, Indians are 1-3. Royals beat them again today, 3-0. They can't score any point. They can't score any runs.
Yeah, I mean, the Indians at this point, you knew that this was, they trade Lindor, they trade Carrasco.
You still have Bieber, Plesac. You still have a decent rotation.
They got a decent rotation. They don't have enough. They don't have enough firepower. Carlos Santana left Cleveland after 1 year too. He's in Kansas City now.
Yeah, it's true. Orioles, look at this.
Yeah, Orioles swept the Red Sox to start the season. Houston with a 4-game sweep over the Athletics, and Houston's 4-0. Angels won 3 out of 4 against the White Sox, so they're off to a 3-1 start. And as expected, the Dodgers are 3-1, Padres are 3-1. That's no surprise there.
Yep.
And it's early.
Angels being 3-1 is kind of a surprise, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they started off with a tough series against the White Sox and held their own. You see a little bit. I saw a little bit of the game last night because on ESPN. Ohtani throwing over 100 in the first couple innings. I mean, and it hits a missile.
If he can give him 5 innings, if he can give him 5 innings a night, throwing 100 miles an hour, with the Tommy John rule, he doesn't need to throw 7, 8, 9.
I don't think he could throw 6 or 7 innings.
I don't think he can either. I'm saying 5. But he is a threat in that lineup to hit. You got him,
for sure.
Trout.
Yep.
You got decent bats there. I don't think they're going to be great this year.
They can be a wild card team, but I think right now I think the Astros are I have them. On the debut of Thursday night's Diamond Cutters, I took Houston to win that division, so I'm obviously going to stick with that. I didn't have the A's making the playoffs, so
good start for you there.
I have I have the Yankees and the Rays as the 2 teams in the East. I didn't have Toronto making the playoffs. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, long way to go. I've always said that I think the true barometer of where a team is at in the early goings of the season, let's revisit this around Memorial Day weekend when you're about a third of the way through the season. And then you know where a team is at, what they have to do, what they have to be concerned about. Obviously, the early concerns about who's going to be hurt. So – I think all that here over the next month and a half will figure itself out.
Right. No, I hear you. I mean, it is nice to see what's going on with the baseball season. At least there's fans in the stands now. I think the Phillies up to 12,000, 15 something?
It's 8,800 right now.
No, I think it got upped again, I heard.
Oh, did it?
11,000-ish around that area. I don't know if it started yet.
No.
Tell the people where they could find your baseball knowledge on a weekly basis.
Yeah, as I alluded to, we are debut of Diamond Cutters, myself and Brandon Gazzara, Thursday nights, 7:00 here on the Sports Box. So every Thursday night from now until September, we will we'll be doing the Diamond Cutters. So
it's good. We're excited to see that show back on there. That me and you actually started that show. And
like 3 years ago, right?
It came back, so that's good. Pete Alonso might put this ball. Who the hell knows where he's going to put it?
Oh, he can hit a ball a mile.
Let's get to something that Tony Quigley loves to talk about: the Final Four. Okay, we'll get to the Final Four rundown. Listen, I think we all kind of knew what was going to happen in that bracket with Baylor and. Refresh my memory. Baylor's who's Baylor playing?
Gonzaga tonight?
Gonzaga. I couldn't think. And then coming out, there were some surprises coming out of that bottom side on the other side because I thought Michigan could get there. I thought there were a lot of other teams that had a chance to get there as well. But
UCLA was a team that threw the wrench in everything. Obviously, being one of the first 4 teams, they had to beat Michigan State in the extra game just to even get into. So they had to win 6 games even to get to the point to play Gonzaga. And you're right. Give them a lot of credit. They didn't quit the other night.
No,
they forced overtime.
That was an unbelievable ending to a game. Holy shit, that was unbelievable. The UCLA game.
And there's nothing that UCLA could do. I mean, you don't want to foul him.
Right.
And he just takes a shot. And it was actually very good form for being that far out from the 3-point line. And he banked it in. So, Jalen Suggs, give him a lot of credit. And
I think the thing that hurts the most is like the game was tied. So if he doesn't make it, it's still UCLA's got to be thinking to themselves, we got this game. We're going to overtime at least.
Or going to double overtime at that point, they're thinking.
That will be a double.
Yeah.
But when he hits the shot, then you're like, what? Like from that far away? Crazy.
I know. Yeah, it was one of the, as far as how it all went down in the regulation and going into overtime, probably one of the better games we've seen in a while. As far as, we saw a lot of upsets early on in this tournament. The Abilene Christians,
right,
with the upset of Texas, Earl Roberts and the run they made to the Sweet 16, and obviously UCLA, what they did. And there was a couple other teams that obviously made decent runs in the tournament. But all in all, these were the 2 top teams all season. They started off 1 and 2, and here they are here on April the 5th, playing for the national championship. Gonzaga coming in at 31-0. Looking to become the first undefeated team wire to wire for the first time since Indiana, right? In 76. Is that what we're looking at tonight?
The last time that happened, well, didn't I say something about in North Carolina and Duke both weren't in the tournament that year or something like that?
Yeah, we talked about that show a couple weeks ago. We were talking about the brackets. And Baylor only lost 2 games this year as well. So they've obviously.
This was the matchup everybody wanted to see. This was the one that was canceled earlier in the year for COVID.
Yeah, that's right. In December,
they actually got this. They got this matchup back.
Yep.
And listen, this should be a fantastic game. Gonzaga is what, like a 7-point favorite? Did I see that correctly?
4.5.
4.5. Okay. I think it's going to be a good game. Baylor could run. I love the Mitchell kid. I think the kid on Oregon, Mitchell. I thought he was good. They have a bunch of kids who can play. Or Gonzaga just runs that style of offense where it's almost like they don't. How should I say it? They're not going to wow you. A lot of cuts, a lot of screens. That they got what's the kid's name? Start with a K. The kid who hits a lot of threes.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Let me look it up right now. I was just looking at Baylor's. They lost They lost in the Big 12 tournament to Oklahoma State, and they lost to Kansas in late February. So those are the 2 losses of the season. But they battled a lot of adversity this year with 2 separate times that they had some pauses due to COVID. So Gonzaga didn't have to really deal with that type of adversity compared to Baylor. But you're looking out, Kispert, right? You're talking about?
That's it.
Yeah, Corey Kispert.
It's so vanilla. Yeah. It's so vanilla the way that they play, but they get the job done. They have so much movement in their offense. They find an open guy on a cut. It's almost like an old school offense. Really
it is. But as Chris Wilson makes a good point about Baylor plays in your face D, play the Big 12 tough Big 12. And everybody talked about the Big 10 this year being the strongest because they get 9 teams in, but Big 12 was just as good. And listen, Baylor dominated Houston, who Houston came into that game playing excellent defensively as well. But Baylor just, there was no doubt that game right from the start, who was winning that game the other night on Saturday. So they didn't expend as much energy in their game compared to Gonzaga. So I'm wondering is there going to be any signs of a little bit of fatigue coming out tonight?
I don't know. Who knows? Who I just want to see a good game. I don't know what to expect. Listen, you have a team who played in the what is it now? It's not the WAC anymore. What is it? What's their conference? Is it still the WAC?
It is
Mountain West. What is it?
West Coast Conference, they call it now.
West Coast Conference. Okay, so you have a
BYU's in it. Yeah,
it's almost like you have a team that's getting no respect. You have a team that, like you said, you got a Big 12 team playing against them. But listen, they're favored. This West Coast Conference team is favored. Mm-hmm. So, I'm hoping for a good game tonight. I'm hoping that, we can see. Listen, the girls' game was even good. I don't know if you watched any of that. The girls' game came down to the end.
I did not watch last night's game. I watched the end of the UConn game on Friday night, though.
The girls' game came down to the end. It was fantastic. I actually watched.
I know it was a one point low scoring affair. Yeah, it was.
I actually watched a little bit of the end of it, and they put up a shot. They covered the girl like crazy. They didn't want her to get the ball. She got the ball. She heaved up like a three, hit off the rim. But hey, listen, it's good to see the tournament again. It's good to see basketball again.
For sure.
It's good to see sports in general again, and fans being able to go see these games.
Yeah. Now on top of it, this time last year we had nothing going on.
Right.
And now we got baseball back, as you said, with some fans. Texas has got full fans.
Yeah.
The NCAA tournament championship final tonight. Hockey and NBA are now in the backstretch of the regular season, so it's good to see. But I'm looking at Gonzaga's regular season schedule. They opened the season and beat Kansas by 12.
Right.
Auburn was supposed to be good this year, but they really disappointed. But they blew them out. Then they beat West Virginia. They beat Iowa at one point this season. They had Virginia. They beat handily. They beat a lot of solid non-conference games early on this season before they got into their conference schedule, which is just terrible. But what are they going to do? I mean, the conference is bad.
Yeah.
But they proved early on in December that they could play with anybody. I mean, they beat up everybody, and here they are now, one win away from winning. Well, whoever wins tonight is going to win their first national championship. So we know that either way. So
yeah, and it's two deserving teams. I think Few has done a really good job at Gonzaga. Not that I want to say it's his time, but he to get a team like that to perform at that level.
It's been there since 1999. So
I would like to see him win, honestly.
Yeah, I mean they've been, this is no longer, they were early on in the early 2000s, they were Cinderella, but that title got stripped from them when they kept going back and back and back.
Yep.
Being in the Sweet 16, being in Elite Eight, being there every year, that's a credit to him. And he's been the head coach there now for over 20 years. That I think through the first 8 to 10 years, they were no longer considered a Cinderella anymore.
Yep.
So obviously he did a lot of great things. They recruit very, very well now. This team doesn't just recruit their type of player. They recruit now guys that are going to go to the NBA. Like Jalen Suggs is going to go to the NBA. A lot of you're going to see your 3 or 4 guys, I think, from this rotation night end up eventually being NBA players. Yep. So this is a very, very talented team.
Aaron Judge just went yard, according to Chris Wilson. He actually, not that we're off of it already.
Yeah.
We have a lot of show left. We're just running through some topics pretty quick. Chris Wilson does mention something about the Masters.
Yeah, he's a big golf guy. Yeah.
And Jordan Spieth. So, you know what? We're actually going to give you some love. We're going to talk about the Masters a little bit, even though teeing off, I believe, comes on. Is it coming on tonight?
Tomorrow night?
I don't know.
I think it's tomorrow night.
I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow night. But hold on.
It might be Wednesday night.
We are going to give you a little bit of a preview of the Masters while we're sitting here. And because Jordan Spieth just won the Valero Texas Open.
Yeah, his first win in a long, long time.
He has now jumped into almost a tie for the lead, I guess you want to call it, on the odds for the Masters. It's crazy how one tournament.
Yeah, he's the third favorite now, right? He's like 11, 12 to 1 or something.
They have 10 to 1 DJ DeChambeau, and then they have 11 to 1 Spieth and Justin Thomas. It's amazing how quick. Teeing off will be Tuesday nights at 7:30. So we're actually going to get a head start on this because Paul and I both like golf. Not that we're stealing their thunder, but we just thought that we would kind of give you a little bit of a prediction as well. But,
absolutely. Yeah.
going into this, does DJ, listen, remember, the Masters was just played in November, okay?
No fans.
No fans.
In November. There's going to be some fans this year, thankfully.
So you're gonna have 6 majors in a calendar year, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this course was just played in November, which was a lot. It's going to be a lot different in April.
Yeah, different season.
It was in November. So we're going to kind of get to see, is this DJ's course now? Is he that good on it? Spieth coming off a win. Does he get another green jacket?
Well, I think DJ's one of those golfers that can win any tournament, any major, any given time. I mean, he's the favorite in all 4 majors this year. I just looked. He's a favorite. He's a favorite in all 4 majors.
I mean, you got guys like John Rahm, Brooks Koepka, guys who have won majors before. Rory's even 19-1.
Well, don't forget Brooks Koepka's coming off the knee. He just had a little knee procedure in mid-March, and they didn't think there was any chance he was going to play. And he said yesterday he's ready to go. So
he was there last week practicing from what I heard.
Yeah, because he hasn't played. I don't think he's played since the Players. Right. I don't even think he played in the Players.
Right.
So he hasn't played in well over a month. So it's been a while since he last played.
That's the thing. Frank even brings up a good point. You don't have to hit it a mile to win at Augusta.
Exactly.
You've had players who don't hit the ball that far win there. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think Spieth is one of the favorites because of the fact we know he's not a bomber. But in this particular course,
DJ's
obviously, yeah. Well. A lot of guys are, and we know, DeChambeau wants to hit it, 300 miles.
Hey, listen, he might be, who knows? How did he fare? I don't remember how Bryson fared last time at the Masters, but if he's going to hit the ball far, I don't know if that's going to play well to this course.
Honestly, I think he wasn't really in contention at all in the Masters back in November, from what I remember. I mean, I'll look it up now. But I don't think he was much of a factor that particular tournament. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to look now here. Well, DJ won by 5 strokes.
Right.
He shot 20 under.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and
he took over the course.
Yeah, DeChambeau tied for 34th at 2 under, so he really wasn't a factor at all.
Right.
At the Masters, and he won the U.S. Open last year, so he's got 1 major under his belt.
He thinks Bryson almost missed the cut. I don't. It might be true.
He did almost. Frank's right. He shot a 74 in the second round, so I think he put himself in danger of not making the cut. But he did make the cut, and he ended up tied for 34th for the tournament. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good guys didn't make the, like Gary Woodland didn't make the cut last time. Matt Wolff, who finished second at the U.S. Open, didn't make the cut. So Matt Kuchar, who's usually, one of those wily veterans that plays well because he's not a bomber either, but he seems to do well. Brandon Todd, who had a very good year on the PGA Tour last year, didn't make the cut though in the Masters. Yeah. Tyrell Hatton, Jason Day struggled mightily. He shot a 78. He shot a 78.
Like I said, and that was towards the end of the golf year. Okay, now you're starting not the beginning of the golf year.
Well, now you're back to normal with everything. Right. So yeah,
there might be a whole turnaround on the leaderboard. You don't know how guys are going to react and how guys are going to play different times of the year.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, I would still have to think right now. I mean, obviously the obvious choices. DJ, Bryson's second favorite. Spieth, is he a little bit over? I mean, listen, it's not just what he did last week. He's had a couple chances at times in these other tournaments in February. I think in March, he was in contention to win some of these other tournaments, right? And just kind of did not put that final round together. I think it's warranted for him to be in this mix because he's had success in the past. Obviously, he won the Masters back in 2015, should have won in 2016 and collapsed mightily. He had that. Remember that on that par 3 12th, he hit water a couple times, and Danny Willett ended up backdooring his way to a win.
Oh yeah.
Justin Thomas coming off the Players Championship win back in March. I mean, looks like he's back in nice form. we always say guys like Patrick Cantley, Xander Schauffele, they're very close to winning a major, but haven't quite been able to do it yet, put it all together. Rory McIlroy hasn't won one in a long time, I think since 2014. When's he could have put it together in a major for 4 rounds? He hasn't been able to do it in a while. Collin Morikawa, though, I like him this week as one of those guys. I don't even know if you could call him a dark horse because he's done it. He won the PGA Championship last year, and he's been in contentions in these other majors. He won a tournament this year. I forget which one, but I know he won a pretty nice tournament earlier in the year as well. So I like guys like him. Scotty Scheffler, I think, is a guy that eventually might break through here. Cameron Smith finished runner-up at the Masters last year, so I don't know if I consider him, one of those guys again.
Dave wants to know if this is taking off.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're not going to get carried away now.
Yeah, well, listen.
We don't want to steal his thunder.
Listen, there are some shows on the box that can do all sports,
that's what we're all.
We're not a particular sport-oriented show, Mr. Cartwright.
We're Mr. All Purpose.
So leave us alone. We're doing our show. Okay. You can chip in if you want to. We have a lot of people who are giving us a lot of golf stuff here. So if you would like to jump on, you could jump on. You can jump on the stream right now, Dave.
Dave likes my picks.
Don't get carried away.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. My final thing is my 2 dark horses are Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're 2 of my guys.
I beg to differ. Mr. Gilmore accomplished that feat more than an hour ago. Over here, Brian T. Listen, we're having fun on the box. That's all we care about. We want to talk sports to the people. They want more Macrie. That's all I care about.
Media's saying he's playing Harbor Town at the end of the month.
Yeah, apparently. He didn't ask me to go. He's still waiting for me to invite him.
I wasn't. What's your famous line? I wasn't invited.
Who said Morikawa is a dark horse? I didn't say that.
I said he was. I don't think he really. You really can't really put him in that dark horse category. You're probably right because he did win a major and he's been in, and he's won a tournament this year. You're probably right. Scotty Scheffler would more fall into that mix of a guy. I think that would be on that.
He's been playing good the last couple of tournaments too, Scheffler.
Yeah, I mean he's tall. He's he's got to be 6'6", I think 6'5", 6'6".
Dave is schooling you right now. He is giving you the business, Paulie.
He said good picks, but yet now he comments on that. Who's
the only rookie to win the Masters, Paul?
Good question.
Let's see the gold.
Let's see the gold knowledge. Wow, that is a good question, though.
Why don't you come on, Dave? Pop on real quick.
Party on. Yeah, Chris Wilson saying Patrick Reed. He did win it in 2018, so I mean he's always got a shot to win it as well. He's always a threat. He's always one of those guys that could put it together. There's no question about it. But
Fuzzy Zeller, 1979.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
He said it. He said, "Sorry, Fuzzy."
Was it Fuzzy?
Apparently.
All right, then he's not going to win it, I guess.
Zeller.
But I'll tell you guys that are choke jobs aren't going to win it. Like we know Tony Finau's not going to win it because we always give this guy too much credit and he chokes. So I don't want to.
Listen, he's the second king, second place king.
Yeah, he loves being second place. He's done it like 9 times in his career. So I don't know. Hey, he still gets a lot of money when it finished in second place. So I guess he's doing something right still. He's still making a lot of money.
It was not Tiger.
So you can see he's not. Yeah, I know it wasn't Tiger because I think his rookie year was like 96 or 95 in the Masters, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was like his second or third Masters. But yeah, that's we don't want to. Who do you have anything? Since I went on a limb and Dave said that I'm wrong. So
I really haven't delved into this. It's only Monday, so I wait till like Wednesday. I kind of don't. No, I'm saying about my picks, but.
I didn't know you were that serious about it.
I honestly like Jordan. I like Justin Thomas. He would be my pick for this tournament. I just think he's too good of a player, and he's starting to find his rhythm a little bit. And he shows. I feel like he's been showing up in the big. Here we go. This one wants to start now. All right, so I'm making my predictions. This kid cuts me off with Flyer stuff. Now I got to talk Flyers.
Because you get fired up about them. It is 1-1. It is 1-1 after one.
Because I'm going to tell you, Brian wants me to tell him he's right, and I have said he's right. He's been right about this whole thing.
Yeah, it's hard. We know they're good.
I'm not talking about AV. I'm talking about the Flyers in general. I've been saying for the last 3 years how they have sucked. The top six and beyond have sucked. Right. Listen, the defense, the goalie's not playing real well. The defense is very young, okay? But the Giroux, Voracek, I can't watch it anymore. I can't do it.
You didn't watch the game then the other night because Giroux carried him on their back in the third
period. He had 2 goals. I know. Who cares? Okay.
Voracek stinks. I agree.
Paul. I've said this argument to you before. Who on that team scares you?
Nobody scares.
Nobody.
They got several very solid players, but they don't have.
I want a stud.
They don't have elite players.
Voracek's not a star. Giroux is a little bit past. Good player.
We don't even want. Giroux and Voracek don't belong in it because they're past their prime now. We agree with that. But we're talking about like the Konechny, who is having a down year right now. He's not playing well.
Patrick is shit right now.
I don't know what to think of Patrick.
Gostisbehere doesn't even know if he's going to be on the team tomorrow because he's been waived down to the taxi squad, up, healthy scratch. They don't even know what's going on.
It's crazy, yeah.
But how are you trying to get any cohesion with your team when this is happening? Okay? Listen, Farabee started out great. Van Riemsdyk started out great. Okay? They're not studs on your team.
Hayes,
They're playing with different guys every night because they can't figure anything out. How are you supposed to develop any kind of chemistry with that kind of shit going on?
Right.
I don't understand it, dude. I really don't understand it. They don't have a Panarin. They don't have a McKinnon. They don't have a Goudreau. They don't have somebody who's going to take over a game. They don't have that guy. And until they get somebody or trade off some of these guys, which they can't because they don't have they're making too much money, they're signed too long, and they're going to be like this for another 5 years if that's the case because they can't get rid of anybody.
I want to hear a Tard's explanation. I don't even care about Adam Fox. The Islanders. What's his explanation of the Islanders having this success again this year? Matt Barzal is a very, very good player. He's a star.
Yes.
Barzal's a star.
He is. But listen, Brian keeps saying it comes down to coaching. I get it. But they don't have anybody. They literally don't have anybody to win games. And especially when the goalie sucks. Now they're definitely not going to win games. Okay? Edmonton wins games 7-6. Okay?
Yeah,
because they have Draisaitl. They have McDavid.
They have two of the best goal scorers in the league, right?
They have studs. Dude, they got 60-some points in 30 games, 40 games. That's a superstar. Okay? The Flyers don't have that. They're ashamed to even watch play hockey. They're so overmatched, it's ridiculous. Somebody's joining us. He's already on. I can say it.
You rang?
Unbelievable. Paul, that's your
fault. We didn't tell you to come on.
You just said
you said it.
You Paul just said you said I want to hear what Brian T has to say about XYZ. Well, Brian T was backstage.
I just wanted you to be a keyboard warrior like you usually are. I didn't even want you to come on.
Warrior.
We got to get you a shirt called Keyboard Warrior.
What was your question?
Your explanation for the Islanders' success.
It's regular season.
Oh boy!
Right, but they did get to the Eastern Conference final last year, didn't they?
Last year doesn't count.
Last year was a Mickey Mouse. So Tampa winning the Cup didn't count. Okay.
No, Tampa winning the Cup is because Tampa should have won the Stanley Cup. The problem is the Flyers got to play the 12 seed, and then the Islanders dispatched the Flyers.
And that 12 seed is actually going to make the playoffs again this year, right? Montreal, are they
possible? Yeah.
And what's your explanation for Florida? Why? How are they so good?
Alexander Barkov, who is the best player no one's heard about because he play in Florida.
Right.
Which is why I try to get him on my team every year because I think he's phenomenal. They will be they'll be well. The problem is they won't be able to keep these guys because they're going to want to leave Florida. In fact, Eichel might be the big name at center that people want to go get. Barkov's number 2, as far as who might be available in the market.
Okay.
However, the Flyers will give him a 10-year deal and not be able to trade him once they suck.
Listen, the problem with the Flyers is it starts and ends with the coach. I've seen this before. No. I've seen this movie before. They're about 8 months ahead of where the Rangers were at this exact time because now the defense is falling apart because he has no defensive structure. He never did. The reason that he's been successful, and I love the people that give me, oh, look at how many regular season wins he has. Who gives a shit how many wins you have in the regular season? He was backstopped by Roberto Luongo and Henrik Lundqvist, 2 of the top 10 goalies to ever wear goalie pads. That is why they were ever any good. In fact, the Rangers broadcast the other night when they were laughing at the Flyers was, well, the only reason AV won in New York was Henrik Lundqvist, and they laughed about it, and it was true. You can say that now because that's exactly what the point was. They had no defensive structure whatsoever, and I'm seeing that with the Flyers. Paul, you and I are in a group chat. Anthony Bevillier's first goal the other night was entirely 155% on Oscar Lindblom getting lost.
I saw the highlight. Yeah.
That is defensive coaching. Why is he on your penalty kill? Because you have no other idea. Why is Justin Braun on the team? Because you don't want to play your kid defenseman? Cool. You just signed Cam York to a new deal. We'll see how often he gets to play.
Well, they were saying that he's probably going to start out in the AHL. They said get a couple games in. I don't know if that's 5, 6, 7, and then they'll bring him up. Who do they sit then?
This year?
That's what they're saying. They said they want him to play this year.
Wow. I did not see that happening.
The Flyers will not be trading. The Flyers will not be trading for a defenseman because if they trade for one, they have to expose either Myers, Sanheim, or Provorov, which they won't do. So that ship sailed. They're going to lose. I mean, the problem is we're going to go a lot into the draft and the expansion draft. If they expose Voracek, there's no coming back from that. He's a head case.
Expose him to the expansion.
If they allow him to be exposed, which he has no clause, they can do that.
They could, right?
He's just going to detach mentally. He's like, "What? You don't want me here? You know how he is."
Yeah, we don't want you here.
He's been there for 10, 11 years now.
Exactly. 10, 11 years too long. He stinks.
That's fine. However,
Paul, when he gets the puck, he runs in circles. He literally skates in circles. He sucks.
I have Flyers fans telling me they can trade him tomorrow. I'm like, people will be lining up. I mean, Bruce Barchet, I have talks. I mean, but it's just
who are you going to get for him, and who's going to take his money? Nobody. Who wants to pay him $7-8 million a year?
We asked the question outside the box: if you had to protect one, who would you protect between Voracek and JVR, and both of which are on similar contracts? Voracek's, I think, a year longer for a little bit of money. No, but you would expose Voracek for a lot of
shit. Yes.
I mean, I've been a critic of that JVR signing since it happened. It made no sense, but he's having a decent year.
It's not worth that money, though.
I wouldn't take anything away from him. The problem for the Flyers, and I had this conversation with someone who you know, whose name rhymes with Bike Maraudis, and I said the Flyers' problem right now is they banked on Pittsburgh getting older, Washington getting older. That's true. They will, and they will fall off. But the next wave of teams is right up their ass because Carolina, and everybody was up my ass last year when I said Carolina's better than the Flyers. Carolina's better than the Flyers. They were better then, and they're way better now. And I'm telling you right now, you know where my heart lies in this from a completely objective standpoint. The Rangers are going to be dominant in 2 years, and everybody can see that. Disagree with me if you want. Look at the roster and what's coming. So, like the Flyers' window here. It isn't that great. And actually,
there is no window. There's no window.
If you really think about it in the long-term scheme of things, this year blowing up could be the best possible thing for them to sign Hart long-term at not an obsessively high cap hit.
Right. I agree with that.
That might work out the best.
That's probably good from that sense, but
they don't have anybody coming, and they're gonna point to Farabee. Look, Farabee's a nice player. Farabee's Ryan Callahan. I like Ryan Callahan. I have nothing wrong with Ryan Callahan. He's an energy player. He will score some goals. It's a second line player on a good team.
But Brian, who does he play with? You got to get a line that can give the guy a puck.
Well, okay, but again, but this is the problem that you make for yourself because you go out and bring in Kevin Hayes to a very expensive contract. It's working out right now. Now is not the problem. Future will be. If Couturier is your one, which he is
your one.
If Hayes is your two, Well, you're probably going to lose Scott Lawton to either expansion draft or free agency.
He sucks.
Morgan Frost is not a fourth line center. So the problem is Nolan Patrick has not turned out. That is not a Flyers problem, that they can't go back and redraft that. And he was the obvious pick, which I had this conversation too, is, oh, look at Alexei Lafreniere's point total. He's playing on the third line. Most guys that are first overall picks do not play on the third line because you go to a real shitty team and you immediately play top 6 minutes. The Rangers have 2 left wings named Artemi Panarin and Chris Kreider as well. Yeah. So, I mean, Kravtsov's on the fourth line in rushes today. Like, the talent's immense, but you got to find places to put them. So, the Flyers' problem, like I said, and I said this from the get-go, they never sold off. Had they sold off, they're in a better place today. None of the guys they have in the system project out to be elite cornerstone players. Maybe Provorov. I'm not talking about the goaltender, but maybe Provorov. Nobody on the forwards.
It just sucks because I see the writing on the wall, and they're not going to get any better anytime soon. This has been my read on them from the jump. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I think in this case, I think I called it dead on, and I thought his coach was the worst possible one to hire for this team. Because even now, I don't watch all Flyers games. You tell me, Justin Braun getting time late in games? Justin Braun sucks.
That's what I'm asking you. Does Justin Braun get time late in games?
He has to, because Gossespier's
it's not that he has to. It's Vigneault relies on his veterans. He doesn't want to play the kids.
Well, that's
as much as he possibly can. I've seen this
because before. Some nights he has Robert Haig scratched. Some nights he had, but it's the younger kids. He doesn't want to play them. You don't want to play the young kids.
Well, I mean, come on. Like first of all, Shane Gostisbehere is not your problem.
No, he's not.
I'm a critic of him too. I thought that was I would not have kept him or given him that deal, but he's not been your problem.
No, he's not. But he's not playing very well either. He's falling down sometimes, going backwards, and they're scoring.
There is no watch them play defense. There is no defensive structure. There isn't. It's controlled chaos. I've seen this. I'm telling you what this was. Alain Vigneault was being carried by literally all-world elite goaltending. Every single spot he's been relevant. Nobody. Do you remember he coached at Montreal? He did. They were terrible because he had no elite goaltending. It was the days before Carey Price. So if you don't have that, last year Carter Hart was very, very good, especially at home. So it masked a lot of those deficiencies. No one's going to tell me, oh, you lost Matt Niskanen. Matt Niskanen's 32 years old. And you're telling me that's the difference from last year to this year?
He would have helped.
How much?
I don't know. He's good in the room.
But then listen, I got guys who don't watch hockey, who I love dearly, giving me advanced stats, not knowing what the hell they actually mean about telling me how bad Carter Hart is. I'm telling you, watch them play defense. Like there's goals.
I watch it. They're bad.
There's goals you put on the goalie, and there's goals that you don't. Like it's not the goal. The goal by Anthony Beauvillier, the power play goal the other night. How you blame the goalie is beyond me. When they lost to the Rangers at home 8-3, Carter Hart was pulled after 5. I challenge anybody to look at those 5 goals and tell me you blame the goalie for it. I hate the Flyers. So, I mean, like, I don't, whatever. I mean, Carter Hart being terrible is good for me, but you got to keep it real. Like there's nothing in front of him. Nothing. And that's their problem because they never sold off. And I'll bet you something else. A coffee says Giroux gets an extension.
Gets what?
A Giroux will get a contract extension.
I don't know how, but anyway.
Not a very large one. Whoa. Cheaper.
There's no way.
Listen to me. They still have to sell tickets, and that's what they care about. He is still the face of the team. You will see Couturier and Giroux's dollars flip.
I don't know. I honestly think Giroux, when his contract is done or he asks for a trade or something, they're going to let him go. Couturier is the captain of the team. In my opinion.
Well, yeah, but
listen, nothing is. And I'm not blaming Giroux, but nothing is working with him as the captain. Okay, they can't get out of their own way. They can't figure anything out, Brian.
The captain, listen, it is the most overrated. The Rangers
don't have that, but when you look
don't have one at all, and they haven't had one. They haven't had one since Ryan McDonough was traded. Nobody has worn a seat since McDonough's been gone. Now you can say they haven't done anything either. I'm not going to disagree with you, but and this comes up in Ranger groups. Like, oh, you got to give the Cedars Zibanejad. Oh yeah, cool, because you're going to go negotiate with him for a new deal, and now he has that over your head. Original 6 franchise captain. I mean, come on.
I hear you.
That's it's not their problem.
Paul doesn't want to talk hockey anymore.
Okay, Atar. This was my fault from the get-go. That I got you going, and now we talked about hockey for 15 minutes, way too long.
I need you to address this.
I don't care. I'm glad he's playing very well. I'm glad for you, and your team is looking on the ups and ups. I hope they make the playoffs this year just to piss you off because you don't want them to make the playoffs.
No, I don't think. I don't think it matters. No, whatever they do, they do. I don't think there's enough runway for them to get in. They've actually been extremely unlucky. Like some of the advanced numbers would put them a lot higher than they were. That bodes really well for next year. My overarching concern is how much money Pavel Buchnevich gets if they decide to give another deal, because now you have your top 9. I mean, it's a very good time.
Yeah, can we talk about the Sam Darnold trade again?
Yeah, we want to.
No, actually,
we'll talk about tomorrow night on how.
Yeah. Plug your show and then we'll get out of here. So,
first of all, there's nothing behind you. You can go on the rest of the evening.
But we're done. We exhausted all of our energy.
Well, we don't like to go over 8:00, Bob.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know some. No, we're on tomorrow night. We'll continue our state of the teams. We've been going around the league doing like pre-draft state of the teams. We actually have the top 2 picks of the draft tomorrow night. Princeton Josh Ray will be on to talk Jags at the start of the show. We'll have Joe Rickson, longtime Jets season ticket holder, as well as our own Matt Zuccarello on at around 9 to discuss the Jets. And we picked a really good week for that, given the news of the day. And we may have Brian Hess on at 9:30 to talk a little bit of
Eagles. Just smoking. You're good.
A little bit of Eagles. That's an interesting team. It's an interesting train wreck, but interesting team.
Yeah, I'm over it. I just want to watch the Phillies win and the Sixers.
But I'm gonna remove myself. I only came on because Paul asked me to come on.
He did ask you.
I just wanted you to make a point about the Islanders. I didn't want.
Well, the Islanders. Listen. The Islanders stink. I'm telling you something right now. They are not going to win anything in the playoffs. They come up against those big teams outside this division. They're going to get crushed. They're just not good. Look, Matt Barzal, phenomenal player. There's just not a lot offensively behind him. I just think that the system only just like last year, they came up against Tampa and got wrecked by Tampa last year.
I got you.
So, and I think that happens again.
Thank you for our Rangers correspondent, Brian Tard, for
Time's yours.
All right. Well, that is it for tonight. And we will be back again next Monday. Obviously, everybody enjoy the national championship game coming on. Well, I mean, they decided to have it at 9:20 Eastern time, but I guess got to cater to the West Coast, got to cater to the Gonzaga people.
Yep.
So that's fine. So enjoy the national championship game tonight and everything else. Obviously, baseball continuing and basketball and hockey in the final stretches of their regular season. Thanks for all the commenters tonight, everybody that chimed in, and we will be back again next Monday night here on the Sports Box, here on Sportsmanlike Conduct. I am Paul Macrie, Big V, Mike Velardi. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Show on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.